Hi, you're watching TV International. We're coming to you live from the WPI's Press Center. Today is June 23rd, 2009. As you know, most probably a lot of you have heard about more news on Neda, the woman who was killed on Saturday at a demonstration against the Islamic regime. It's interesting because reports have come out, her fiancé has come out to say that she supported neither faction of the regime, that she was out there because she wanted freedom, not just for herself but for everyone. And I think she has become a symbol of both the repression of the regime but also the hope and resistance of people in Iran, wanting neither faction, not an Islamic regime, but freedom. I'm here with Bahram, Soroush and Fariborz Pooya to discuss some of the issues that have been raised. Some people are saying in the media that this is, this is not a revolution. It's basically an evolution of an Islamic regime, as if people are actually getting killed and risking their lives so that the Islamic regime can evolve into something a little better. I'd like to hear your comments on that.
I mean, I've never seen people on such scale coming out, engaging in such bitter battles and giving up their lives just to support one faction. In the beginning, especially in the first week, they referred the mainstream media to Mousavi supporters and Ahmadinejad supporters, and very quickly they had to take that back. Now, they find it very hard now to explain these tumultuous events in Iran in those terms. It is definitely beyond an election. Nobody remembers elections anymore. In Iran, people are shouting slogans against Khamenei as a representative of the government, shouting slogans against dictatorship and calling for freedom. So it's obviously, and they are doing it using methods which are very classical of revolutions. They're coming out in their millions, even where they are not, they are being repressed, attacked physically in the major squares, for example, in Tehran and other major cities. They have been out for throughout these 11 days in different neighborhoods outside. So in total, if you count that, there are millions of people who have been out without let up, and the slogans have very clearly shifted to targeting the government, and clearly people have gone beyond an electoral issue, and they use that electoral issue as a framework, as an excuse to vent their anger, which they had been waiting for years, in order to use it to get rid of this regime. I think that's the situation now we are at, and it will be interesting to see how the media is going to report this later on.
I mean, some in some of the Western media, you hear talk about the fact that the demonstrations are fizzling out, for example, and that we know that the regime has come out with machine guns yesterday, and its repressive forces are out in full force. But is it fizzling out? Is this the end of things as it's being reported in some places?
What is clear, that's end of the Khamenei and his gang, one way or another. How long this is going to take depends on how clear we are, how clear sort of the people on the streets are. I'm sure history will be written what at the moment what it is. I mean, it's difficult to say, but as Bahram said, this has very clear signs of people rejecting totality of Islamic regime. There's huge divisions within the ruling government, and these are very clear definitions of a pre-revolutionary, revolutionary situation. I think one factor which is very important, and we are trying to provide that, is leadership, and giving depth and meaning to what's happening, and also provide a forum and opportunity for the real desires of people to come out. Clearly, with all the media and censorship, as we know, and Islamic censorship that has existed in Iran, it's very difficult, and people have used different means to express the true wishes and desires, and our task is to do that. We didn't start from the point of, is this a revolution, then we take part of it, is not, or is it a reformist movement, we would or wouldn't. We started on the ground. We know that people are demanding, and we've said this for many years, that people do not want the Islamic regime, they want a change. We've said that that would be brought about by clear overthrow of Islamic regime and clear demands for unconditional freedom, having a system and a government that represents the desires of the people of Iran. We're working for that, and we'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, we've been talking in our programs about what people can do internationally. For example, June 26th, this Friday, is one of the key dates for people to come out in full force and show their support and solidarity with the people's movement in Iran against the Islamic regime. What is the Worker Communist Party of Iran via its 24-hour new channel TV? And I think nowadays, in the past 10 days, we've had 18, 20 hours of live television programs, many of that with callers from Iran. Despite the difficulties and the fact that, you know, lines have been shut down, people are finding it difficult to make contact, we're still getting hundreds and hundreds of calls every day from people, expressing their anger, their wrath, and calling for us to bring their voices to the outside world. What are our guidelines and guidance to people in Iran? What other mechanisms and tactics are there that they can use to push back the regime?
As you mentioned, the new channel is on 24 hours a day, and it's become the most important medium available to the people, linking up their struggles and for people to come out there and get direction about the movement. And previously you mentioned that, you know, some people asking if the revolution is fizzling out. Not at all. It's a process. It's a process, and the importance for us as the Worker Communist Party, as the leadership of a revolutionary movement, is to recognize this as a process and to clarify the goal and direction of the movement. And this is what the new channel, the Worker Communist Party leadership, Hamid Taqai, are doing, just giving direction to that, self-consciousness to that movement, to see what the goal is. So the guidelines that are being put forward from the leadership of the party to the people are to use other methods. It's not just a street demonstration, as well, for workers' organizations in Iran to come out with their statements, human rights organizations, women's organizations, personalities, anybody in Iran to come out with their statements, to go on a sort of protest or warning strikes, you know, as well, to grind to a halt the machinery of the government, and also in their neighborhoods. If, for example, the central centers of the city centers are being cordoned off by the regime, to be everywhere, present everywhere, so that to weaken the force, you know, the security forces present, because they can't be everywhere all the time. So this is happening. And one thing I should also mention, the regime is using a sort of cyber war, it's a telecommunications war, like in any fight, as a counter-revolutionary measure. They have shut down most of the telecommunication system in Iran. The mobile system is off. The text messaging is off. Lots of, you know, and journalists have been thrown out. They're trying to jam TV stations. Our new channel, they haven't managed to jam the new channel. And so what the new channel is doing is getting this information and broadcasting 24 hours a day.
We've got one more minute if you'd like to just end with something.
Well, I just wanted to say that this situation is going to continue. Islamic regime has shown, and its reality in the last couple of weeks has shown that it's extremely divided, and people are on the ground, on the streets, and have actually created a wedge in the government. That is not going to go away. The Islamic regime cannot stay in power any longer. And how long will it take? It's anybody's guess. But the direction is
the beginning of the end.
This is the end of the Islamic regime.
Thank you.
And we're working to bring that to a successful conclusion.
Thanks very much. Well, you've heard it from us. Do stay tuned. Keep watching us. We're going to bring you up-to-date news and analysis on what's happening in Iran. But don't forget, the most important thing today is to support the people's movement in Iran for the overthrow of the Islamic regime. It will herald a new dawn for people everywhere in the world. Thank you.